Okay, it's letting me go live up here. All right, so let's do this. Get day 3 over and out. I hate I waited so late, but it's okay because we are here. And again, let me introduce myself. My name is Stef, aka Stef the Crafter, and I am here live. And the name of my podcast is Push with Stef. And this is day 3 of our episode. Your experience is not wasted. And the word push to me means P for passion, U for unity, S for strategy, and H for hustle. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be when you receive this um, episode of day 3 of our 30-day live challenge. Welcome back to Push with Steph. I am Stefanie, and I am also known as Stef the Crafter. And we are officially on day 3 of our challenge, going live for 30 days. And to be honest, if you have been rocking with me since day 1, I appreciate you. You can go over there and find me over there on the you the YOU over here. Some people some people call it the YouTube channel, but whatever you want to call it, I appreciate you rocking out with me. But if you do want to catch the first 2 episodes that was here, you can go over there and find those 2 episodes. And if this is your first time again, like I said, welcome in. This is day 3. And again, I want to say that the letters P.U.S.H stand for passion, unity, strategy, and hustle. And every day we are having real conversations about what it looks like to take our gifts, our knowledge, our talents, our experiences, and what we have, and start building something meaningfully from them. So grab your drink of choice and come on and let's get into it. Because today I want to talk about something that I believe is a lot of women, especially me, in our generation, need to hear. Your experience is not wasted. Everything that you do through I'm sorry, everything that we do that we taught or something we can use. Sometimes we look back over our lives and think, well, I spent all those years doing that. Or I should have started sooner than later. Or I wasted too much time doing this, if you know what I mean. But what if it wasn't wasted? What if those years was preparation? Okay? What if those jobs taught you skills? What if raising your family taught you leadership? What if caring for your friends and your people or your family taught you compassion? What if working what if working all those years taught you discipline? What if the mistakes taught you wisdom? What if everything you've been through prepared you for what you are building right now? Let's talk about experience. One of the things as a Gen X woman understand is that we are not coming to the table empty handed. We have lived, we have worked, we have learned, and we have helped so many people. Yes, we have made mistakes. Yes, we've raised families, but we've gone through relationships, we've managed households. Some of us even worked jobs 20, 30, 40 years, maybe, possibly. And sometimes we dismiss all of those things because nobody handed us a certified or certificate saying, congratulations, you've just made it through motherhood, or congratulations, you've made it to your next destination, or congratulations, you know, if you know what I mean. But listen, experience is value. You know those things today that you did not know 20 years ago? Well, that's okay. And there's somebody younger than that, than you, or somebody your own age that has started a new chapter who would love to learn what took you years to figure out. Okay? The P in push is for passion. And maybe our passion grew up out of our experience. Maybe we went through something and now you want to help somebody avoid that same mistake. Well, maybe you discovered something that you love later in life. Or maybe you spent years taking care of everybody else and now you're finally discovering what it looks like as an empty nester. Passion matters. Pay attention to the passion. How about the U in push? The U in push is for unity. And this is one reason why I'm very passionate about building vintage wealth society. Because imagine what happens when women who decide, who have decades of knowledge, what happens that women that have decades of knowledge and they start that knowledge or they share that knowledge with others. So, say for instance, like a financial coach brings their wisdom, or a career strategist brings their wisdom to the table, or a career strategist, or a healthcare practitioner, or healthcare worker, CNA, or anybody in the healthcare field, firefighter, a crafter, business owners that have experience. People always say, well, oh, I don't want to tell everybody everything what I know. And you don't have to do that. What if a traveler, somebody that has traveled over the years, sometimes they write a book, but what if they share with others what they knew or what they saw or what they could have done different. Everybody brings something to the table, and together we build stronger. For the S in push, we get down to strategy. Because once we recognize our experiences have value, now we have to ask ourselves, how can I use it? Maybe your experience becomes a digital guide, or a workshop, or a consultation, or a course, or a checklist. How about a template, or a membership, or like this, a podcast, maybe a YouTube channel, maybe a blog post, or maybe just a coaching service, or how about a community, or even a completely new business? This is where we stop saying, that's just something I know, and start saying, who could benefit from what I know? That is the question. That is the change for everything. Now we're down to the letter H in push. It's all about hustle. But I'm not just talking about any kind of hustle. I'm talking about purposeful action, not exhaustion, not burnout, and not trying to do 15 things at once. Sometimes today, hustle is simply sitting down and writing down what we have learned. Maybe you have created a Canva, something in Canva, where you do all those fine, fancy designs, or maybe you've recorded a video doing something um, a certain way, or maybe you've recorded and wrote down some material or an email of events, or even a phone call. Conversation, you record the conversation and you get some pull, extract things from that conversation to create a blog. Maybe you go live for 10, 15, 20 minutes, like I'm doing right now. The action doesn't have to be huge, but it needs to move you forward. And that moves us to being ashamed of how long it takes you to be there. You need some of these lessons, right? You need some of those experiences. You need some of those setbacks. We need some of those I never do that again moments. You know what I mean? Because now you know better. And when you know better, you can move different. Your story doesn't always has to disqualify you. Your age doesn't have to disqualify you. Starting later doesn't have to disqualify you. Sometimes starting later means you finally have enough wisdom to build what you were not ready to build before. As my final thought, I want to leave to you today Romans 8 and 28. It says, and we know that all things work together for their good to them that love God, right? I love this scripture because it says every experience is good. Whether it's a good experience because you get to experience certain feelings, or if it's a bad experience and a hurtful experience, you get to feel a certain way and then you share. You don't just reach out and lash out at people and say, you hurt me, I'm going to do this to you. No, but you write those feelings down, you share, you put it in the story, you put it in the blog, um, you put it, create a magazine or a article. Sometimes some things are disappointing to us, but sometimes things we wish would happen differently, right? Sometimes we wish we can go back in time, but we can't, but we wish. But guess what? The Most High says it can still be used to your advantage. Whether it's a lesson, whether it's an experience, whether it's words of wisdom, whether it's a story, the strength that you develop because of it is the story, is your experience. Nothing has to be wasted. So, with that said, I appreciate y'all coming in and listening a little bit to what I had to say and sharing. Again, this is your friend Steph, aka Stef the Crafter, and this is day 3 of Push Challenge. And guess what? I have just a little quick assignment. I want you to get a piece of paper and answer this question. What have you in the last 10 years taught you? In the last 10 years of your life, what has it taught you? Then, beside each one that you've listed, think about, could somebody else that you listed down there um, benefit from sharing that story? You might be surprised at what comes out of that experience because my next piece of content, your next digital product, your next service, my next service, or even our next business idea may be hiding right inside something that you already have lived through, something that you've already dealt with, something that made it the turning point of your life. If I've spoke to anybody today, leave in a comment or in a chat. Nothing's wasted because whatever you dealt with the last 10 years of your life and you're able to write down and remember those moments and you learn from it, you could take that moment, share it with somebody, and I guarantee you it's going to change their life. I want us to start taking or talking our experiences and, and talking to each other because it helps us to remember. Yes, like I said, it could be hurtful. Some moments can be hurtful. I actually had a business partner that actually published the book and didn't even know that she had already published a book. But it was about her diary. She broke her diary down and actually created a book out of it. So remember, we are building a community. So if you are a Gen X woman and you are ready to take your experience, skills, talents, knowledge, and begin building your next chapter, I want to connect with you in Vintage Wealth Society. Whether you are a coach, a nurse, a strategist, educator, entrepreneur, um, a person that wants to just have accountability, we are building our Vintage Wealth Society founding partner community because I believe experts who generally show how to serve our people just like us should have a place at its table. And remember, I'll be back tomorrow with day 4, same time, same channel. And I just want to leave this with you. You may not be able to change what happened yesterday, but you can decide what you're going to build from this day forward. Take this lesson, take this wisdom, and take your skills, take your experience, and move forward. Because everything that we have been through and talked about throughout our lifetime is a story that you can share that may help somebody. And remember, passion helps you to recognize what matters. Unity reminds you that you don't have to build alone. A strategy is going to help you turn experience into opportunity, and hustle puts that wisdom into action. I'm Stef the Crafter, and this has been my episode of Push with Steph. And today I want to remind you also your experience wasn't wasted, it was preparing you for the next chapter. So until tomorrow, keep pushing with passion, unity, strategy, and hustle. And always remember, we're not starting over, we're starting with experience. And that, my friend, we are not making money, we are building legacy. So until the next time, rocking with your girl, Steph the Crafter. I appreciate y'all.